I always want to give myself some sort of impetus to do well in a video whenever I'm filming it, some sort of reward that encourages me to do my best. And today, that reward is a chocolate truffle. So if this is any indication, this is going to be a really good video. Now, I am a very big fan of The Witcher 3. If you've been following this channel for any length of time at all, you will be very aware of that because I basically never stop talking about it. In my opinion, it's one of the greatest games ever made. I've played the crap out of it. I think I've bought it roughly 6 times if you include the times I purchased it to give to people. I freaking love the game and I support CD Projekt Red wholeheartedly. But recently I was playing through The Witcher 3 again, as you do, on my Switch with the new Witcher 3 port for Nintendo Switch. And something occurred to me that I had thought about before, but it actually pushed me to investigate it further this time around for some reason. And this is The Witcher 3's one big glaring problem that I think has ripple effects throughout the entire game. And it's something a lot of people tend to ignore when they talk about The Witcher 3, which is kind of interesting to me because I know that I'm guilty of this too, even though it is clearly an issue. The world is built to feel alive and as though it's breathing, as though it's going to continue chugging along independent of what the player and or Geralt decides to do in the moment. If you go along just running in circles in a field, the world will continue. The Bloody Baron's gonna continue doing his thing. All of these woodworkers are gonna continue doing their things. The armorers will continue. The wars will still rage. The world doesn't really give that many craps about the player or Geralt, which is why it feels so alive. But on the other side, it's also incredibly delicate and can be immensely impacted by your decisions. And I don't want to spoil a lot of things that can happen in the core game and the DLCs. If you want to hear more about all of that, I'll have links to my full-length critiques below in the description box. But to keep it simple, the player's actions really impact the world on a meta scale, on the large scale, not necessarily the minutia, but on the large scale, your decisions and actions have a broader impact, which is something that people love so much about the game. But all of this goes out the window the second we start talking about one particular mechanic. And that's what this video is going to be about. We're going to deep dive into why they designed this system that we're going to talk about the way that they did and what it likely means for CD Projekt Red and Cyberpunk 2077 moving forward. But first of all, I want to thank our sponsor for today's video, Nord VPN. As many of you guys know, I'm a full-time college student. I travel a lot. I like writing these scripts in coffee shops out in public. As a result, my data is constantly being assaulted and is ready for hacking at any given time, which is why I take my internet security very, very seriously. And my chosen provider for VPN services is Nord VPN. They don't log your data, they double encrypt everything that you send in and out, and they support up to 6 different connections on one account, which is why I can have my phone, iPad, laptop, desktop, everything connected under one account. Again, I use NordVPN every single day of my life and I cannot recommend them enough. If you're interested, check out this link right here, nordvpn.com/Luke Stevens. If you use coupon code Luke Stevens at checkout, they'll give you 70% off of your 3-year plan. And just for you guys, they're throwing in 4 extra months for free. So again, if you want to save big, 70% off of a 3-year plan, use coupon code Luke Stevens at nordvpn.com/Luke Stevens. Save big, get 4 months extra for free. You support the channel, you get something awesome, an amazing service. Literally everybody wins. So what is this big issue with The Witcher 3? Well, it all ties together with one mechanism and mechanic that not many people tend to think a lot about when they're looking at an open world RPG, even though it's incredibly important in the broader scheme of things whenever you're talking about an open world that has gear and loot and things like that. And this system is, of course, the loot system. This is basically the process and mechanism by which players can find items, either picking them up from a house or from a chest that they find out in the world, or picking up off of a dead body after they've defeated that enemy. Whatever it may be, they're looting some sort of item or something that they want from another place. But first, let me rewind and explain to you how I was reminded of this issue while playing through The Witcher 3 on my Switch. So I was doing what a lot of players are going to do. They're just running around, exploring the world, looking for something cool to do, whether it's a quest or some sort of dynamic encounter. And then I decided to wander into some houses to see what was going on, if I could talk to anybody, and I just started picking up items in the house. And I realized no one was stopping me. No one was even upset. You know, they might make some snide comment about me having puss peepers, as they said, but nothing very severe at all. I could take literally everything that was able to be picked up in their house, all food items, clothes items, armor items, weapons, whatever it may be, even books off their bookshelf, and they wouldn't do a thing. They just sat there and took it and waved me goodbye as I walked out of the house, turned the corner, went into the next house, did the same exact thing, and so on and so on and so on. And while I was doing this, I realized, like, holy crap, there's really no consequence for these types of actions. Sure, in big cities or areas where there's a lot of guards, if you're doing things that are stupid or if you steal an item out in public and there are guards right near you, sometimes civilians will call for the guard or the guard will notice you. You'll get a prompt that the guards are upset with you and that you should cut it out. But if you continue, they tend to beat your ass. They're usually leveled 10 to 20 levels above you. They'll kill you, but then you reload, wake up, basically having been beaten to a pulp, and they will have taken anywhere from 80 to 100% of your coin, which is pretty accurate to what it would be like in real life. But the thing is, this system is only really used incidentally. It's not something that villagers or people in these houses will use to their advantage. They're not going to go calling for the guards, at least in my testing. It happened once out of like 35 tries. So usually you're just going through looting houses, looting these people who are very, very poor and in desolate conditions. You're taking their stuff and you're just going about your business. Like, it's completely disjointed from the broader tonality and theme of Geralt as an individual. It doesn't work with the story. In the world, there should be consequences, but we just kind of forget about that when it comes to looting houses out in the world. And this is something, again, that I and many other people have talked about before. It's something weird in The Witcher 3 that you just kind of have to accept, that there aren't that many consequences when it comes to looting things. Sometimes something will happen with guards, but usually you're going to get away with it, and it's just taken as an effect of the video gamification of this world and story. But you guys know me. That type of answer doesn't make me satisfied at all. So I went and I watched around 6 to 8 hours of interviews from developers around the time of the game's launch and just after, to try to see if there was any explanation of why this system was built the way it was. I didn't find much, but I did find an indirect discussion on a similar topic in an interview with one of the lead game developers with regards to quest design and the people that actually built some of the houses and established the items that could be looted from those buildings within the world of The Witcher 3. And in this interview, just to boil it down to its purest form, what they basically say is that they focus tested having punishments and consequences for your actions in looting and in stealing items in houses throughout the world. But people didn't like it as much as when they could just take stuff. So they just cut out a lot of heavy consequences from the game when it comes to those micro actions and decisions, and decided to focus player choice on the broader macro scale with the larger story beats and things. This is why there's actually punishments and there's repercussions when the guards catch you, because that's the system that was initially being implemented. If you stole something in somebody's house, an NPC could call for the guard would then come, would see what you're doing, either kick you out or would beat your butt and then take your gold, and that was the punishment for your bad action. It didn't have, like in Red Dead, a morality meter, but instead they just punished you by taking your stuff. Furthermore, there's another issue with modern gaming, which is that people will just save and reload until they get the outcome that they want. So if they're thinking they're going to steal this item, they might stealth down, sneak around, quick save, take it. If they get caught, they just reload, wait a second for the guard to move a little differently, then they quick save, steal it. Did they get away with it that time? They did. Everybody's happy, they go about their day. And it just encourages an exploitation of the systems, which in the mind of the developers, if that can be avoided, you should. Because if the player feels the need to spam quick save and quick load in order to get something that they want out of the game world, it probably means that there's something wrong with the game world or the way the game is set up that's pushing players to do that type of thing. I mean, the other side of it would just be to say that people who are abusing the quick load and quick save functionality are doing just that. They're abusing it. But let's be honest, I think we're all guilty of this in RPGs where there's like a charisma check. It's a 50% chance of working or not. You quick save, you do it, and you fail. I'm pretty sure all of us have at some point quick loaded back and given it another roll of the dice until it worked. I think that's just an artifact of having a quick load and quick save system. If you don't want players using that system to their advantage, you probably just shouldn't have it and should have a rolling quick save feature so that can't happen. I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments. So more broadly, the point was just that most players are not going to like having severe punishments for their micro actions, so they decided to let the reins loose, to just take their hands off the wheel and let players do what they were going to do, and then really rein in their decision making, the consequences for their actions when it comes to the broader story ramifications on the world, which makes sense and clearly didn't upset many people because the game still won all sorts of Game of the Year awards. It's still beloved by many and, in my opinion, one of the greatest games ever made. But let's be real, it could be that this is just what they're telling people, that yeah, well, we focus tested it and it wasn't received super well, so we cut it, and that's why the AI is kind of oblivious and stupid. Or maybe it is that they just didn't have a system in place that was robust enough to have NPCs noticing your actions, grow suspicious, confront you on it, and then if there's some sort of altercation, to then bring in guards and have that dynamically work to maybe have them try to defuse the situation. And if that doesn't work, to then engage you in fighting and punish you monetarily. And if they do all of that, maybe at that point, players are just going to abuse the quick load, quick save functionality, in which case all of those systems that you built up are basically wasted because players will never actually engage with them because they're just going to quick load back to the point where they can try again and hopefully not get caught. And I know her lights just turned out. It's Khaleesi bedtime. I'm sorry. Keeping her up. Speaking of, if you want to celebrate the Christmas season in style, we have all new Khaleesi stickers. It's her in a Santa hat. She's my bearded dragon, my pet bearded dragon. She's in there. I don't know if you've seen her. Here's a clip of her. She's super adorable. If you want a signed sticker, I will sign it by hand, write you a personalized note, ship them worldwide for free. $5. Check it out. Links below, lukestevens.net. And to be honest, once I started digging into more and more of these interviews and having played the games so much, having talked to some of the developers at E3 this past June, it seems to me that AI is what CD Projekt Red tends to lack in most of their titles so far. I know there's only really been 3, 4, I guess, if you count Thronebreaker and Gwent maybe as a separate game, but even so, dynamic AI in the realm of NPCs has never been a strong suit of theirs, and it's not that that's going to prevent their games from being good. Clearly it didn't prevent The Witcher 3 from being an amazing game, but I think it is a weak point, and I think it shows that this is probably the largest element that they need to focus on in terms of refinement, polishing, and improvement moving forward to Cyberpunk 2077, a world which is based on everybody looking over their shoulders, everybody trying to make sure that the person around them isn't screwing them over. Everybody's incredibly paranoid. Everyone's snitching each other out. That's a very complicated world to build in terms of artificial intelligence for non-playable characters. And The Witcher 3 objectively just doesn't have very intelligent NPCs. They tend to be oblivious. They don't tend to call you out for your crap. They just do their thing. Now, I will say the demo that I saw behind closed doors at E3, which they ended up releasing clips of, Weirdly enough, later on, it showed some more intelligent AI, but again, that was a scripted quest line. It's something they prepared for E3, so it's not clear as to whether or not that's really what we're going to get at the end of the day. But from what I've seen, it looks like CD Projekt Red is aware that this is a weak point of theirs and that AI needs to be the focus for Cyberpunk. So I don't know. Keep an eye on the new trailers. Keep an eye on all of the new stuff that they release, because I'm sure they're going to be giving us more information leading up to April and the release of the game, and I'm sure a lot of it's going to focus on artificial intelligence, on the world and the dynamic things that can happen as a result of the intelligent beings that inhabit said world. But I want to hear all of your thoughts. Let me know everything you think down in the comment section below. I will be reading through all of them. Again, thank you to Nord VPN for sponsoring this video. They really are that good, and I cannot recommend them enough. But that's it from me. Thank you for watching, honestly and truly. It really does mean the world to me. I love you all, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.